All right, we are back. I hope you missed us. Sosa, I made sure to Google what the sand color code was for what our names are at. As you can see, we got the Spin Doctor with us. Daily Bread after little vacations episodes back live on this Monday morning. I mean, we gave you paid for play on the weekend, our college football fellas for our Daily Bread Media. Make sure to give them a follow, give them a check out.
If you missed it, that's on you. They went 10-0 in week 0. 10-0, week 0. What more can you ask for? Shout out to Sam. Shout out to Goose. Shout out to my man JD, who I haven't met yet or really had much interaction with. Shout out to y'all. Y'all did your fucking thing yesterday or on Saturday, and it lets me know that y'all are really committed to this. We're about to go crazy. If y'all weren't listening, hopefully y'all are smart enough to tap in this Saturday. Chris, what's up, my guy? How are you, man? How was your weekend?
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Saturday was a fantastic day for K-props. We nearly swept the card. So no, it's been good. 6 straight touts in a row, and we had a streak of 12 out of 13 going till Jesus Luzardo brought that to a screeching halt last night with a performance that he'll probably never repeat again. I put that more on the Reds, because if you watch that game, he was throwing the same breaking shit that was three feet outside the zone, and they were just whiffing at it. Weren't even like coming close to contact. And I told some of my members this, one of the things that I just hate, especially when you cap unders, is that when you get a guy that goes down 0-2 in the count and there's nobody on base and there's 2 out, and like you can just see it in his eyes that he's just going to swing at the next pitch no matter what it is. Like he's just trying to make something happen. So then you get a breaking ball way outside and turns into a strikeout. But no, it's been good. It's been a good week. Made some money. Couple of my guys owe me some cash today, so I'll be waiting for that to come through. But yeah, new week. We got a short slate today, but there are definitely still going to be some plays.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So for today's episode, we got the baseball slate. Sosa's got some plays for you. I got some plays for you. Spin Doctor's got some leans for you to be looking into it, because you know the effort he puts into it. So we want to make sure we get the full math there. And then we'll talk some fantasy football. Really wish that segment was before this past week where I had draft weekend, but we'll still talk about them since we all have leagues upcoming. But let's just get right into this MLB slate for today. Sosa.
I actually want to start with what you have for the people, because my picks are gonna be quick, but like let's start with what you got. You're fresh back. You made us wait 4 days to see you.
Friday's 3. We had a Thursday episode where we talked college football as well. We had you covered, but yeah, we were being lazy on the beach.
Got your tan in, got your fantasy football team. Let's make some money with that.
Oh, no. Supposedly I'm very pasty according to 2 people still, but we'll ignore that. Get into the show. So the first one we got coming up for us, I think this is an easy one where Tampa, we're going to rock the hottest team, not the win. They're going to surpass that team total tonight. You got Pivetta up on the mound, who in his last 3 starts is rocking a 6.94 ERA. The team total for the Rays is sitting at over 4.5 at -115. I'll be locking that in just because as of right now in the games in the Dome, so in Tampa in the series 4, the 6 have gone over. The bats are just as high as they can possibly be on the 7-game win streak that they're on. Sure, it's not against the toughest competition, but against righties, that's what they like to see. And against the division, that was the last point I was trying to get to for they're hitting that over as well. So we'll just rock with all that and take the Rays team total over.
Okay, I love it, man. I love that. Let's go.
Against righties, it's 49-26 this season to the over in the Rays games. That's the last number I wanted to grab.
Okay, yeah, I love that. Patino's actually pitched pretty decently after post All-Star break. He's been a lot better. But For me, my first play is I'm rolling with your boys tonight on the road on the run line. Wheeler on the mound against Gray. Y'all beat bad teams. Y'all perform good against bad teams. Do you guys know who's leading baseball in on-base percentage and OPS?
Bryce
Harper. When I seen that, I was like, damn, it makes sense he would be putting up stats when the team's not fucking doing anything. But yeah, I'm happy. I didn't believe that when I saw it. It's pretty crazy. So my first play for the day is the Phillies on the run line, -1.5, +108. I like the value. This Washington team is not very good. I don't care how competitive they might be against certain teams. The Phillies have owned them. I'm rocking with the Phillies on the run line, +108.
Last time we saw Gray, they hit him, but they didn't get any runs across the board. And that was earlier this month. I think the second time back around, that'll help them out there. And I mean, Wheeler's been pitching against his Nats for his entire career.
Yes, sir. So that's a play for me off top. I also have a play that I like, which is a little bit out of the ordinary as of recently because I've kind of stayed away from them. But tonight I'm going to revisit the Toronto Blue Jays team total over 5.5. It's the Baltimore Orioles. If you need to break out of a slump and you have your best pitcher for you on the mound who's been pitching the best for you all season in Robbie Ray, you've just wasted 2 of his best starts of the season. Tonight's the night. Toronto Blue Jays go crazy. They score like 10 runs tonight. They're going to go crazy tonight. If you're a losing team, the one group of guys you want to see are the Birds. You want to see them on the schedule because they're awful. They're absolutely awful. Toronto Blue Jays team total over 5.5 is at -105 on FanDuel. You could probably get a better number on a couple other books, but that's my second look for the day. I love it. I think today's the day the Blue Jays break out. I mean, if you want to put up numbers, get the Orioles on your schedule.
So I got a hungry dog coming at you. Let's tease that. I know Sosa has another one, but Spin Doctor, what's your first lean of the day that you're liking?
Yeah, for sure. Before I do that, I got a second Sosa's play there. Starting for the Orioles tonight is Chris Ellis, and if you're wondering who Chris Ellis is, you're not alone. He's made one start this year, spot start against the Angels. Other than that, it was just straight relief appearances. And if you're wondering where he pitched in 2020 in the majors, you wouldn't be alone because he did not. So journeyman guy, he's kind of bounced around against the best, what I think is the best offense in baseball. Yeah, easy. So my first lean tonight would be Corey Kluber under 3.5 strikeouts. This is his first start since the middle of May, and it's already been announced that he'll be on a pitch count. It hasn't been said how much, but the guess is around 65 to 75. Honestly, I don't even think he goes that long. He just coming back off an injury. Guys are never strikeout kings when they come back from injury, especially not a guy like him. So that's going to be a strong lean. And then the other one that I'm looking at right now is Luis Patino. I agree with the look on the Rays team total, but Patino has been it's under 5.5, -130 right now on DraftKings. He's been under 5 in 5 of his last 7 starts, and had just not to the point where I think it would affect it too much, but he did just recently face the Red Sox in the month of August. So the other one that I want to give as not as a lean, but almost as a lean to avoid is Chris Fleckson against the Astros. So you look at it on paper and you say the Astros have these elite swing metrics. My VIPs know that I pimp that heavily. But it's 3.5, but you also have an Astros team that is traveling and their second consecutive road series. So this is the fourth consecutive day on the road. They're playing their 4th consecutive game in a row. You also have the Mariners who are at home, who are in back-to-back home series. Guys, that combination doesn't usually favor the road team. And hopefully I'm not stealing any thunder here, but I'm going to try to avoid Fleckson under 3.5 strikeouts. It's at plus money right now. I think it's a trap line. I'm not sure I would go over, but also if you think if you look at Fleckson's stats in the month of August, he's had 5 starts in the month of August and has averaged over 5 strikeouts. Chris effing Fleckson has averaged over 5 strikeouts, including a couple where he's gotten 7. So he had 7 against the Yankees, 6 against the Rays, 5 against the Rangers, and all of these are on the road too. So you put him at home where he's pitched a lot better. It's just something that I normally look at Fleckson heavily because he's got a low chase and whiff rate, but I am just going to ignore that one entirely. No fade, no play, no nothing. Save your money.
Hey, don't save that money because only thing I have to add to that, Seattle was my hungry dog of the day. Fleckson 9-4 on his home starts, and you're going to give me a plus 135 money line on that? Sure, maybe you just can take the first 5. Garcia's been pitching pretty well for Houston recently as well with a 2.7 ERA over his past 3, but those 2 teams were Kansas City and LA. So that's just kind of where Fleckson, Chris said everything more. Don't want to rant about that anymore since he said it much better. But 9-4 this season, his team's at home. So let's take that plus 135.
Flexon's whip at home is almost under 1. It's barely over 1.07 on the season in 13 starts. And opponents are batting, I believe it's like 50 or 60 points less at home versus him than they are on the road. It's crazy. Dude loves Seattle.
Love it. Man, I'm 100% with y'all on that. I love the play. And Seattle's fighting. They're fighting right now. They gave up 2 against Kansas City, but I like them. I like them in this spot as well. Trying to look at my next play is my usual play, but more. If the Dodgers don't win tonight by more than 3 runs, y'all need to come back in here and tell me to quit. I'm going Dodgers super run line today. Absolutely embarrassing. I also made a comment about this the other day. Teams are starting to get offended by what Dave Roberts is doing. Like, the most arrogant shit that you can do is keep starting relievers. He started Brusdar Graterol and Mitch White on back-to-back days. That is so disrespectful to Major League ball players that play for the Colorado Rockies. That is so disrespectful. And they felt it. You saw it. When they found out on Friday that Graterol was pitching, they came out there like, we're going to bomb this fool. And they did. They did. It's so disrespectful. Like, what Major League Baseball team's doing that? They're marching out a reliever 3 days out the week. And they're just sitting Urias whenever they feel like it, sitting Max Scherzer whenever they feel like it, and still winning. I mean, I'm a Dodger fan. The arrogance is hilarious to me. Oh my God, it's crazy. Like, have y'all ever seen anything like that? You ever seen a baseball team just keep starting relievers as their 4th and 5th starters? It's crazy.
Not unless their starters were so trash that they had to.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you see that from the O's, but it's kind of just like load management slowly making its way into baseball.
Absolutely. And today, like I said, I'm taking the Dodgers at home against the Braves, minus 2.5 at plus 156. If you're scared, go to church. I really mean that. If you're scared to bet it, don't. We'll talk at around 1 a.m. Eastern when the game concludes, and we're at the cashier. That's my next play for sure. We have to, and we will. Urias on the mound. Also, good play in the game is the game over and the team total. Mookie Betts came back to the lineup on Thursday. He hasn't been himself yet. He's not 100%. He's not seeing the ball or swinging the bat like Mookie Betts, but that's expected. You have a little bit of a layoff. You're adjusting to hitting different places in the lineup. I mean, Dave is also an asshole. If you're going to start him, just hit him second. You just hit him second and just stick to it, because he hit him 3rd one night, 2nd one night, 5th one night. What are you trying to do? I'm not. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's Mookie Betts. Put him at the top of the lineup and put the lineup card out there. So today, I believe, obviously, the Dodgers have to bounce back today in a big way, minus 2.5. It also seems like whenever we know the Giants lose, we lose too. We want to make up games, but when they lose, we lose. And yeah, so that's my third play. And I have one more for the people today, and that is the Cincinnati Reds minus 1.5. It's kind of juiced at minus 106. Their team total, I look for them to break out of a slump on a Monday today. Cincinnati's team total, over 5.5. We did the same thing with the Blue Jays. I fully expect Monday to be a good day for both teams. I expect them to swing the bat well, and I expect them to play well today against inferior competition and pitching that they should do well against. Cincinnati want to make the playoffs. They can't lose here. You got a Cincinnati. You got a. They're playing a team that's in the doldrums, marching out. John Lester.
Yep. John Lester, FYI, 207 lifetime plate appearances the Reds have against him, and he has a strikeout rate under 20%. Now you might think, oh, well, go tout that strikeout play. It's going to be juiced, guys. It's going to be juiced. So it might make my card, but we might have to get creative about it because that old man can't strike anybody out.
And I like the Reds lineup against them. I just do. The Reds have they're a top 5 lineup in baseball. It's just they strike out at a higher clip than the ones that are other ones in the top 5. But when they get going, they get going. And also, Betting Joe's, you're right. He's the ideal number 2 hitter, if not leadoff. I mean, the thing is that when you have Trey Turner, you have to hit him leadoff. At this point, he's shown he's arguably the best leadoff hitter. Also, Mookie hits for power to another level, so he's a better. I am taking the run line, and the team total is the official play. The run line is a bit juiced. I mean, if you're giving me minus 1.5 and it's only minus 105, it's I don't really like that personally. The team total is the official play. If the run line, if you look a little closer to game time, you with the run line being where it is, you might get some money in on the dog, and you might get a better number. So right now, no, but I do anticipate the Reds to play well and win the game by more than 2 runs. It's just that Vegas does too. So so go with the runs in regards to who they're facing on the mound. If you guys want to get like I lean for them doing well first 5, obviously Lester's on the mound, so that's part of the reasoning as to why I picked the team. So those are my official plays for today.
The Reds love bats on Mondays as well. They're 11-3 to the over on Mondays, which is like one of the wildest stats either. Usually means nothing, but they start the week off right.
Yep. And you also got a similar situation to what I talked about earlier with the Astros and the Mariners is you have Cardinals are on back-to-back road trips. I know that the Reds played at Miami, but Reds are coming home. And like I said, Cardinals have been on the road for almost the past week now.
I also like a couple dogs to play well tonight. If you take them, I would take them both on the run line. The value is good for me. And that's the Rangers and the Diamondbacks. I believe that the Diamondbacks' first 5 is a good spot. The only thing is the last time Gilbert faced his team, I believe he pitched a no-hitter. Paddock has been
– You're right.
Paddock has been a 2-pack of ass all year. Arizona plays better and hits the ball better at home. I mean, God, they're god-awful on the road. So, yeah, like that's taking them both on the run line. You get them at plus 132 – or minus 132 and minus 102, both at plus 1.5. That's a underdog parlay at plus 250. You want to take them both first 5, get a little more value. It's not a bad sprinkle on a Monday. Not a bad one. Paddock fucking sucks. The only thing is that Gilbert he pitched a no-hitter against them last time, so you can't.
Yeah, that's why I just don't want to touch it on that aspect.
But I do. But again, I'm going off them playing better at home. They just play better at home. So if they keep it close, they could get their asses whooped. I'm not saying go put. It's not my 20 unit max play of the day, but it's a nice option, especially if you're betting dogs. Also, Monday has been a weird day in baseball. It has. We've seen a lot of weird shit take place on Mondays. We've also seen a lot of makeup games. We've had quite a few makeup games played on the schedule on Monday. So. I haven't actually looked into this, but how many teams today are playing? If there are any teams playing today on one-off games in which they travel to another city tomorrow, are there any teams like that?
I don't believe there are today.
Okay, because we've had like 2 over the last couple of weeks.
Twins and Tigers are.
Boom.
Now listen, that's something that I meant to pay attention to. Right, on Mondays you get a couple of makeup games. These games are one-off games because they're traveling somewhere else tomorrow. I'm not going to touch it because I've been burnt already by the last 4 that happened. So yep. I'm not touching it. But like I said, those on Monday, that's one thing I have been paying attention to. Like they'll have a makeup game, they'll travel to another city. Wherever they play tomorrow night, if either of these teams are going on the road tomorrow, it's an automatic fade for me.
Yeah, the AL Central matchup, I just figured it was the start of a series and you always squeeze it in, not squeeze it on a Monday.
Right.
They both traveling too. They both suck. They're both going to be huge dogs. So we'll be back in run lines tomorrow.
Tomorrow they're going to get smacked the fuck up. You heard it from Sosa first.
And on that game, Minnesota, Detroit, all strikeout props are out. Like pass all the way, 100%. Not even touching it.
All right. So as we all know, it's that season, that fantasy football season where we're drafting our favorite players. Some of us who don't want to make money, and then we're drafting players from other teams that will make us money because we're not fanboys when it comes to fantasy. What a lot of people don't know about Spin Doctor is that Spin Doctor is not just a baseball guy. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously he's winning a lot of money off of baseball, but that's not the only thing he's great at. He's great with props. He's great with the NFL and especially with fantasy. And that's why we had him on here. I know y'all thought it was that baseball stuff, but it's not. We got him on here today to talk football. And he's got a lot of information on dynasty leagues, how to draft, and, just some players that he's looking at for coming up. We might feature him a couple more times this week, based on schedule. I mean, he's a busy man. But it's about getting we want to get more information to people as you're going into your fantasy football draft, entering the next week. Obviously, we know football is back next Thursday. So, Spin, you already know, man. We want to hear what you have to say in regards to that. Yeah,
absolutely. So, thank you. So before I was a baseball capper, I was or have been for almost 15 years now a very, very heavy fantasy player, and I primarily focus. In fact, right now I only participate in auction and or dynasty leagues. Now I still every now and then will do the occasional mock for just a regular snake to just kind of keep my skill there. But I primarily participate in higher dollar value. So when I say higher dollar, I mean like 250 plus for the league, auction and dynasty leagues. I also participate in a number of what are called emperor leagues. For those that don't know what an emperor league is, it's a dynasty league where you have a certain number of keepers each year, and then at least 20 to 25% of your entry fee goes towards an emperor pot. So if you have 12 people, let's just say it's $100, it's $1,200 a year. And that pot just rolls over each year until somebody wins the league 2 years in a row. That person gets the whole thing. So we have one emperor league this year. Actually, I draft on Wednesday where we keep 5 guys. We have salaries, we have contracts, we have contract extensions. And the emperor pot is closing in on about $4,000, I think. So I am not in a position to win the emperor pot this year, but it just builds it for 2 years from now when I say cash it for me. So, but a couple of things I want to talk about is for those of you that haven't participated in an auction draft before, or if you have one coming up, I personally believe that it's the purest form of draft for fantasy that there is. And the main reason why for that is because everybody gets a chance at every player. So if you're in a snake draft, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to hate on snake drafts. I'm not trying to hate on anything with that. So totally fine with those. But if you're in a snake draft and you find out, hey, I drew pick 7, and let's say you wanted like Kamara or McCaffrey, you aren't getting them, like, period. Like, they aren't coming to your team. So you have to then modify it based on what players would be available. With an auction draft, you can actually approach it as every single player is available. And there's actually
until you run out of money.
No, that's what I was going to talk about. So the big thing with auction draft, and it sounds so simple, but is know your budget plan your budget. And I don't mean your budget for the league. I mean, how much is available for the auction. So what I like to do is I like to first decide what kind of team do I want to build. And what I mean by that is there's a couple ways to do it with auction, whereas with a snake, you're actually limited based on where you pick. So in an auction, I can spend a shit ton of money on a couple really expensive guys, and I can have 2 studs and then try to fill the rest with 1 or 2 or whatever dollar players. That is one strategy. I've seen it win leagues before. It's not what I do, but I have seen people win with it before. That's especially true if you're good at finding gems, like those $1, $2 guys that just blow up. But the other ways to do it are to draft a strong starting lineup or draft for depth. And so when I say draft a strong starting lineup, that means that you're probably not going to have like a McCaffrey, a Kamara, a Zeke, like just like one of those elite top guys.
Saquon.
Yeah. But you'll have
I have to mention it. That's my guy. I love Saquon.
Yep. But you'll have 5 to 7 just really, really solid guys. Drafting for depth means your starting lineup won't be as strong, but you can shoulder injuries better. Honestly, it all depends on what you want to do. And sometimes you actually have to change that strategy on the fly. So if a guy goes for more, if a guy goes for less, you can actually adjust your strategy and say, well, shit, like I thought I was going to have to pay 30 for this guy. I got him for 15. Like now I can spend more on another position. If you're drafting in an auction league, I would also write down, okay, so let's say our auction budget is $200. That's the standard. It's either 100 or 200. Usually it's $200. Don't allocate it in terms of dollars and cents. Allocate it in terms of percentages. So say like, how strong do I want my quarterbacks to be?
Break out the Excel.
Yep. Well, or pen and paper, either one.
Not me. Excel. Y'all got that one. But I'm just kidding. I know what you mean. I get it.
Yeah. So
Rex is also like the greatest ever at Excel, if anyone was wondering.
Yep. I know. Actually, Rex and I have had many conversations about statistics and analysis. But I would say, so, let's say that let's just say that your quarterback scoring is such where you want a top tier quarterback. Okay, well, then you're probably going to have to allocate more for quarterback spending. Usually QBs in a $200 cap league account for 15 to 20% of your budget. You might have to go 25 to 30 to get a Mahomes, to get a Josh Allen, to get a Lamar, to get somebody like that. Now, what I will say, though, is no matter how you're plotting an auction strategy, running backs and receivers, they are going to be the highest priced guys. They are also going to be the guys that are going to fly off the board first. I don't care who you're drafting with. I don't care what their experience level is in an auction. It's going to happen. So you need to be prepared if you want a guy, because I see people do this in an auction, is you have this beautiful budget right there. It says $200 right next to your name. And all of a sudden somebody throws out McCaffrey and people are going 60, 70, 80. And you're like, oh shit. Well, I better not jump in because then I'm going to spend all my money and then I'm not going to have enough guys, enough money for other stuff. Guys, I'll tell you, if you do an auction draft, if you want a guy, go fucking get him. Okay. If that's a guy that you believe in, okay, you might have to pay 5% above market. You might have to pay 6% of 10, whatever it is above market. If that's the guy that you believe in, you need to go acquire him and you need to be willing to spend that money. So when you're plotting out your budget, you need to have some flexibility to say, I want to spend 40% of my budget on running backs, but if I get this guy, or this guy, I will go up to 45 or 50. I've seen people screw themselves in auctions and kick themselves later because they really wanted a guy and he's going for $2, $3, $5, dollars above what he should go for. And they're just like, nope, I can't pay $1 more above that. It's not about what the guy's value is for auction. It's about what his value is to you and how bad do you want him? So it's the exact same thing with ADP in a snake draft, guys. So yeah, the 4th round might be too high for this guy, but if you don't pick again till the late 5th round, then damn it, just draft him. Okay. Who cares if your league mates give you shit?
What are you saving the money for?
I did my first auction draft over the weekend, actually. So I had 2 drafts over the weekend. And after I got the 3 guys I wanted, I was just the asshole that just kept doing the plus $1 once I saw somebody wanted it. And I just drove up 3 guys this price real high. And T. Higgins was one guy that I got someone to pay probably $25 over extra because every time I did a bid, 1 second later. So I'm like, if you're going to be this quick, I'm not going to be upset if I end up with him. So that's one strategy you can take as well, as you can try to control the market, but then you might end up with the guy in the long run if you burn yourself.
Yes, I've seen that happen before too. The other thing that I would say is understanding the difference between being gun shy and having patience. And what I mean by that is it's a lot different if you're in a bidding war with a guy with one other person. It's a lot different if you're in a bidding war with 2, 3, or more. So you need to understand your surroundings. And that would be a case where, if you're in a bidding war with 3 other people for a guy, if you really want him, like Rex said, you're probably going to have to go $5, $10, $15 more. And that's something you're going to have to live with. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying that's something you're going to have to do. If you're in a bidding war with one guy, one thing that I've always loved doing is, let's just say he goes 14, right? So, and I think that, maybe 15 gets him, maybe he doesn't, maybe it doesn't, maybe that's on the edge of my budget. I'll say 16 or 17. Okay, it's an extra $1 here and there, but then for the other guy to outbid you, he's got to go 18. So you've now upped his bid by $3 to $4 versus you're only upping your own by 1 or 2. So I always like going in increments of 2 or 3. That's especially true if it's a $200 cap league. I try not to go more than that because then you end up spending extra dollars that you might need later. So like if a guy says 14, like I'm not just going to go 24, that'll probably lock it down. But what I'm probably doing is I'm probably screwing myself out of $7 or $8 that I would need at a later point. So that's another tip. When it comes to like throwing players out. So for those that don't know, the way an auction works is it goes in snake order and everybody throws a player out and a dollar figure. And then you just keep going back and forth and bidding until somebody has a bid and nobody's going to pay anymore. So if it was the 3 of us, Rex would throw a guy out first, Sosa would do it second, I would do it third, and then Rex would do it again. So what I've always loved is marking down 2, maybe 3, 4 guys that you think will go for higher dollar values that you don't want. And that's who you throw out. You don't throw out who you do want, because if you start throwing out all these guys that you want right away and you get all excited about it, your league's going to know that, and then they're going to fuck you over like Rex did to his guy, right? Mm-hmm. So if you do it to other people, people can do it to you. So I always
they're watching this episode right now, like that motherfucker.
Yeah. So I always list 5 guys, 3 for sure, but usually 5 that I think will go for higher than what market would be, that I'm just not interested in, or guys that I think have a lot of risk associated with them, or guys that I think that people would overvalue. And my first 5 times around the rotation, that's who I throw out always. Another trick that I've learned is if it's a guy you really want, I learned this in like when I used to play poker semi-professionally, is that, your card hits, right? So you turn like the stone cold nuts and you see people, they get like, they tense up and get all excited about it. And it's like, thank you for telling me what you just had. I appreciate that. I'm going to use that information. Lay back. Okay. There was a year where I wanted, this was his 2,000 yard season. I wanted Chris Johnson so bad. And somebody threw Chris Johnson out there. And a couple people went back and forth. His bids were middle tier because he hadn't busted out yet. And I did not say a freaking word. When they got to Chris Johnson, I think it was like 12 or 13 or something like that of $100 cap, going once, going twice, and then just casually, I'm just like, I'll go 14, making it sound like I can't let you get him for 13. Meanwhile, inside, I'm like, holy shit, I want this guy. So if it's a guy you really, really want, right, I would not recommend throwing them out yourself. Certainly don't be super excited about it. And B is that if you just wait, because you have until the auctioneer, however you guys do it, say going once, going twice, sold. Once he says sold, then it's done. But on the going twice, you just very, very as casually as you can. So like, I think I was sitting here like this. I'm like, I'll go 14. I can't let you get him that cheap. you know, and then the guy's like, oh, okay, cool. You know, and I'm like, good, thank you. Whereas if I would have been super excited about it, my league mates would have been like, oh shit, 15, 16, 17. So there's a little cat and mouse that goes into play, but when it's your turn, at least for the first few times, I would throw out a guy that you don't want. And a guy that you think other people are going to pay for. But like Rex mentioned, you don't want to, yes, the upbidding strategy works. Just if you haven't done auctions before, or if you're not experienced at fantasy, I would try not to be super cute with that one, because then you might get stuck with a guy.
Right. That was the one thing I'm thinking. I'm like, that's all good and fun until someone leaves you screwed with Tyler Boyd for $23.
Well, yeah, that's where you don't upbid someone you want. You just kind of, if you're about this guy, you know where your threshold's going to be at. You'll go a few bucks over, but basically at one point you see how much they're committed, because after like the sixth time I upped it and he's still going, I'm like, I could get 2 more out of this probably.
And also to answer, Akbar asked, is fantasy sports more profitable than sports betting? Well, that would depend on the handicappers that you deal with on a daily basis, to be totally honest with you, because your fantasy league might be more profitable than sports betting, depending on where you're getting your bets.
Longer, smaller investment, longer ROI, and you can lose it in a second. So, yeah. I mean, unless your week to week has winner wins money type of leagues, but those get more complicated.
You said if I were to get started on it, I never tried it before. Any advice for beginners? Yeah, running backs and receivers, like Chris said. Quarterback, you can get a quarterback later in drafts. That's always a good strategy, in my opinion. Unless you like Chris said, unless you value one of those quarterbacks extremely highly, then you draft them wherever the fuck you want. Oh, here we go. I was waiting for this. Psych. Can't wait to play. I can't wait for fantasy football to start, man.
He'll have to do a currency transfer over when he pays you too.
Wide receiver and running backs, number one. Also, if I don't know your schedule, Chris, but we'd love to have you on here just to talk a little bit about like a regular snake draft, or just we're gonna get to that tonight though with the Sunday morning quarterback crew. So you guys should definitely lock in. Definitely do that. Betting Joe's Tyrell Williams with the Lions. Any value? Tyrell Williams has no value because he's made of paper mache.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. So that's exactly what I was gonna say. Is dude, he is the Tin Man. So if he ever stayed healthy, the dude has athleticism beyond belief. However, the one thing that I get worried about is just Goff throwing the deep ball on a regular basis in general. I'm just not a big fan of Goff, period. So I would say if it's a regular snake draft, no auction, no dynasty, no nothing. If Tyrell Williams could be my 5th wideout in a league where you start 2, or actually 4th in a league where you start 2, 5th in a league where you start 3, I could be okay with that.
And also the only 2 guys on that offense that hold value to me are Swift and Hockenson. Maybe Jamal Williams, but that's yet to be seen because the expectations are so low and they expect it to be so bad. I think the only 2 guys that really hold value in any of the rounds of real value are Swift and Hockenson.
Yeah. I mean, I think that lately, Tyrell's ADP is shit. It's like usually like not drafted, or it's
like round 15
or 16. Yeah. I mean, Tyrell Williams would be the kind of guy where, cause sometimes like when I do snake drafts, I like to do this. I like to structure it where I know like the conventional wisdom says, well, take a kicker and defense with your last pick. And normally I generally subscribe to that. I always like subscribing to the theory of taking a kicker and defense with your 2nd and 1st to last picks, and then make your last pick your upside darling. So it's a total flyer on a guy who has nothing but upside. There's no risk. You can cut him week 1 if it doesn't pan out. And then if you do that, you can actually probably get a better kicker and defense combo 1 round earlier. Now, I will tell you, which I will argue till infinity. Before those 2 picks, for the love of God, don't take a kicker in a defense, because the difference between the number 1 and the number 7 or 8, I read an analysis about this kicker year after year. It's like 10 points, maybe.
In my snake drafts, I pray, and it happened because we were in person one. It was like round 11 or 10, the first defense got taken. I'm like, yes, here starts coming the onslaught of other people start draft. And there's at one point in round 12 where 3 went back to back to back. I'm like, perfect. You're just saving all the good players. And then it's only 15. So it was like round 12, 3 just rattled off real quick.
Yeah, that is where people get the strong, what I think we've all talked about this, guys, the strongest gambling emotion that exists, which is FOMO. It starts creeping in where it's like, oh shit, if I don't get a defense right now, I'm going to get stuck with, just the worst guy. Guys, think about how many teams are in your league and think about how many teams are in the NFL. Okay. Like, so in a 10-team league or in a 12-team league, you still will get one of the top half defenses. You will get one of the top half kickers unless somebody's a real dumbass and drafts 2, in which case you should welcome that. So draft 1 kicker, draft 1 defense, take them late.
I got to say this out loud. I was one of those jackasses last night by accident. I had the last pick in one of my drafts, and I went Patriots Browns because I had back-to-back picks and I hit the button. I wanted to kill myself last night when I saw that shit happen. Oh my God, I was sick.
Cash, just to answer your question, if you go by ADP, it's Mahomes sometime in early round 2, late round 1, depending on how many people.
Mine made it all the way to late round 2.
I went
with 14 because it's 14 guys, so everyone's more worried about the running backs and wideouts with 14. That is just.
I had the last pick. I had the last pick last night, and I went Kelsey Mahomes.
I would say two. Yeah,
I had to.
One last comment on QBs. I would say also look at your league scoring system. So some leagues give point per like 10 for rushing. Some give point per 20 or 25. If it's a point per 10, then quarterbacks will probably go a little bit earlier because you can get the rushing yardage bonus with Kyler, with Lamar, so on and so forth. Even Mahomes, he's not a rushing quarterback, but he's not terrible at it. It's not like he doesn't do it. So I would probably tell you if it's a point per 10, you can probably guess towards the end of the first round, early second. If it's point per 20 or more, you're probably looking at mid to late second.
Okay. Thoughts on Jamar Chase. I think with Jamar Chase, just throw everything out you saw in preseason. Don't believe nothing these assholes are saying on ESPN.
He's trying to hit a home run on every play. He'll relax. He'll get into the groove. He'll be good.
He's the real deal. He's too good. He has too much of a rapport with Joe Burrow to not be good in the NFL. He plays the game like Terrell Owens. He's physical. He's strong. It won't be it's not going to be a problem. Now, if you really want to know what LSU receiver I'm on this season, it's actually Terrace Marshall in Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Familiarity with the offense, familiarity with the offensive coordinator, a quarterback that can get the ball vertical. You can say whatever you want about Sam Darnold, but he can throw the deep ball. I think Terrace Marshall is set up, and it's not a name you're hearing a lot. You're kind of hearing him now because he's picking up a little steam. I think Terrace Marshall is going to be one. It's going to be a hell of a player in that offense as long as he stays healthy.
100% agree.
Really good.
100% agree. 6'3", 205, and
he got wheels. He can run.
Man, he had his it was either his spark or his relative athletic score was in like the 97th percentile. The guy is a freak athlete. And the other thing you got to think about too is Robbie Anderson is leaving in free agency next year.
He just signed an extension 2 days ago.
Oh no, that's right. He did. That's right.
They just gave him like $25 million. It's a manageable contract too. It's nothing crazy, but he got paid. He got paid. I just think that it helps too when with any bigger targets help any quarterback. Yep. So I like him. But like I said, Terrace Marshall for sure is one of them guys, man. You might not have heard of him prior to this season, but I mean he killed it as a freshman at LSU. it was great. So I personally, like I said, teaming up with the offensive coordinator whom you've put your best numbers up with. There's another guy doing that. His name's Carson Wentz.
Yeah, but, I would say that Marshall has a ton of value in a dynasty league. He is probably a draft and stash guy in Snake. But if you do want to pull the trigger on him, Sosa, I 100% agree with you. Don't wait. So if you have an extra roster spot, stash him. If you don't, you need to watch the market very carefully, because the first time he has a breakout game, which he could pop a long one at any time, you can bet that all the locusts in your league it'll be a feeding frenzy. And that's actually one point too, where we probably don't have time to get too much into it now, but is beating people to market. And I would say that in any kind of draft that you have. And that's another reason why I said, if you're in a snake draft, if you don't pick again for like 12, 13, whatever picks, and there's a guy that you want, it's a little too high for him, but you think he's going to be gone by the next time it's your pick, you need to beat everybody to market. You need to take him. And he might be overdrafted, but he's on your team. So overdrafting somebody is always better than not having them on your team. Same thing with the free agent wire, is that if you do a blind bid, if you do a budgeted system, if you just do, hey, we'll just put in waiver claims, priority, whatever. If there's a guy you want, be bold and go get him. Maybe he turns out to be nothing, but what you don't want is, you're listening to Sosa talk about Terrence Marshall here, and week 1 or 2, he pops off 2 long ones, and then everybody's going to want him, because then you're going to pay twice as much or more.
And just with that being said, I want to get into more. We've been on there for a cool minute. Join us tonight, Sunday morning quarterbacks, the crew. Everyone's going to be on there. Join us. We'll have a good time. We'll discuss.
What time we going?
We're going to go at 9 p.m. Eastern. Is the time I want to go for. We can go for about an hour, maybe a little bit more. But like I said, I'll have the direct information to everyone involved tonight, and we'll pick this up there. I know Rex got stuff to do. I know everyone's got stuff to do today. But yeah, tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern, join us. We'll have more insight for you on fantasy football, on regular team football, team activities, injuries, stuff y'all want to talk about. It'll be all included tonight. Tune in with us. Once again, Chris, Spin Doctor, appreciate you for joining us. You are the man, and we appreciate you.
Taze, yes, for sure.
Rex, good to have you
Please
back,
do.
man. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully your teams are good that you put together, and let's get it popping, man. Let's have a week. Let's knock out baseball and let's go crazy.
Yes, sir. Make sure to give Spin Doctor a follow if you already haven't. This is his 3rd time on the show, so I'm assuming you've been there by now. It could be 4, but give us a like, give us a follow, give us a subscribe on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Until tomorrow and until tonight, we'll catch you later.
Appreciate y'all. Peace.
See you guys.